Top 11 Most Evil Women in History. Throughout history, while male criminals have often taken the spotlight, there have been women who committed heinous acts just as terrible as their male counterparts. This list sheds light on one such women who, for their vile actions, have earned their spots in history as some of its most wicked women. Number 1. Elizabeth Bathory, 1560 to 1614. Born in 1560 to one of Hungary's oldest and most influential families, Elizabeth Bathory's life took a sinister turn when her atrocities began to surface. By the time of her arrest in December 1610, it was alleged that she had tortured and killed approximately 650 young girls over a period spanning 2 decades. Rumors fueled tales of a dark obsession. Bathory, it was said, believed that bathing in the blood of virgin girls would grant her youth and vitality. This belief supposedly began in her early 40s. Although she never faced a formal trial due to her aristocratic status, the Hungarian authorities sentenced her to house arrest. She was imprisoned within the walls of her Szeged castle and spent her last 4 years confined in a tiny set of rooms, where she died in August 1614. Number 2. Elsa Koch, 1906 to 1967. Born in 1906, Elsa Koch became one of World War II's most notorious figures by the 1940s. As the wife of Carlotta Koch, the commandant of the Buchenwald concentration camp from 1937 to 1941, she reveled in sadism. Inmates and survivors from the 8-year operational period of the camp recounted her fascination with collecting items, especially lampshades, made from the tattooed skin of deceased prisoners. Her debaucheries became so notorious that she faced 2 trials, first by the US military in 1947 and then by the German government in 1951. In 1967, at the age of 60, carrying the weight of her transgressions, she ended her life while serving a life sentence. Number 3. Marion Cotton, 1832 to 1873. In the 19th century, specifically between the 1850s and 1873, England was rocked by a series of suspicious deaths. The common link? Marion Cotton. Over a span of approximately 21 years, Cotton, using arsenic, is believed to have systematically poisoned and killed as many as 21 individuals, including 11 of her 13 children, 3 of her 4 husbands, and several stepchildren. Her motive often revolved around insurance payouts, a grim profit she pursued starting in her early 20s. Her extensive series of murders, spread over 2 decades, finally culminated in her arrest and trial in 1873. Convicted for her heinous acts, she was executed by hanging in March of that year. Number 4. Belgness, 1859 to 1908. Belgness, originally born in Selbu, Norway, in 1859, is one of America's most infamous female serial killers. After migrating to the US in the 1880s, her trail of murders began. Over a span of approximately 20 years, from the late 1880s to 1908, she is suspected of killing over 40 people. The death count includes 2 husbands, several of her children, and a range of unsuspecting suitors. Utilizing personal ads in the early 1900s, she baited numerous men with promises of romance and marriage. Once ensnared, these men met grim fates, often poisoned, so Belle could claim their life insurance payouts. In April 1908, a fire consumed her farmhouse, revealing many of her secrets. However, the exact details of her final fate remain a mystery. Number 5. Aileen Wernos, 1956 to 2002. Born in Rochester, Michigan, in 1956, Aileen Wernos is one of the most notorious female serial killers in U.S. history. Her spree of violence spanned a brief but brutal period between 1989 and 1990. In just 13 months, she murdered 7 middle-aged men, all of whom she claimed had either raped her or attempted to do so while she was working as a prostitute. Although she asserted self-defense, the patterns and evidences suggested otherwise. Her life, filled with abuse, homelessness, and crime, was later depicted in the 2003 movie Monster, where Charlize Theron portrayed her. After a decade on death row, Wernos was executed by lethal injection on October 9, 2002, in Florida. Number 6. Leonardo Chanchali, 1893–1970. Born in Montella, Italy, in 1893, Leonardo Chanchali's crimes are among the most chilling. Known infamously as the soap maker of Correggio, Leonardo's murderous spree began in the late 1930s, precisely between 1939 and 1940. Driven by a deep-rooted superstition, she believed that sacrificing human lives would ensure the safety of her eldest son during his service in World War II. Over a period of 2 years, she murdered 3 women. In an even more sinister twist, she then transformed the bodies of her victims into household items, soap and tea cakes. Her crimes were unveiled in 1940, leading to her arrest. Leonardo spent the next 3 decades in prison and a mental hospital until her death in 1970. Number 7. Irma Greece, 1923–1945. Born on October 7, 1923, in Rechen, Germany, Irma Greece remains one of the most infamous names associated with the Holocaust. Given the ominous title Hyena of Auschwitz, she served as an SS guard and warden at the Auschwitz concentration camp and later at Bergen-Belsen. Her time at these camps, particularly between 1942 and 1945, was marked by unparalleled cruelty. Her brutalities towards prisoners, especially female inmates, ranged from whippings to unleashing trained dogs on them. Greece reveled in her power and was known to select prisoners for the gas chambers personally. Post-war, she faced trial at the Belsen trial in 1945 and, at the tender age of 22, was executed on December 13, 1945, for her heinous crimes against humanity. Number 8. Delphine Lalori, 1787–1849. Madame Delphine Lalori, born on March 19, 1787, in New Orleans, Louisiana, was a respected figure in the city's high society. However, behind closed doors, she held a chilling secret. In 1834, a fire at her Royal Street mansion led to the discovery of her ghastly crimes. Rescuers found numerous slaves chained, tortured, and mutilated in the attic. The immediate public outcry was fierce. Upon the discovery of these atrocities, Lalori's reputation crumbled overnight. She managed to escape the angered mob and fled New Orleans. It's believed that she found refuge in Paris, France, where she reportedly died on December 7, 1849. Number 9. Amelia Dyer, 1837–1896. Amelia Dyer's dark legacy positions her among the most notorious figures of Victorian England. Born in Pile Marsh, Bristol, in 1837, Dyer's criminal operations revolved around baby farming. She'd offer to take in unwanted babies for a fee, promising them a better life, but instead, these infants met a grim fate. Over a span of approximately 20 years, from the mid-1870s to 1896, it's believed that Dyer murdered around 400 infants, primarily by strangulation. Her macabre activities were eventually exposed when a package containing a baby's body was traced back to her in 1896. Shortly after her arrest, Amelia Dyer was tried and subsequently hanged on June 10, 1896, at Newgate Prison in London. Number 10. Myra Henley, 1942–2002. Myra Henley, born on July 23, 1942, in Crumsall, Manchester, will forever be linked to the notorious Moors murders, one of the darkest chapters in British criminal history. Between July 1963 and October 1965, she, alongside her lover Ian Brady, carried out the heinous acts which resulted in the deaths of 5 innocent children: Pauline Reed, John Kilbride, Keith Bennett, Leslie and Downey, and Edward Evans. Their modus operandi involved luring, sexually assaulting, and then killing their victims. Several of the bodies were buried on Saddleworth Moor in Greater Manchester, leading to the term Moors Murders. Henley's role in these abhorrent crimes was exposed in 1966. She faced trial and was subsequently sentenced to life imprisonment. After serving 36 years, Henley passed away on November 15, 2002, in West Suffolk Hospital. Number 11. Beverly Elite, 1968–present. Beverly Elite, born on October 4, 1968, in Corby Glen, Lincolnshire, was a pediatric nurse with a deeply sinister side. Her career at the Grantham and Kesteven Hospital, Lincolnshire, turned deadly in 1991. Over a shocking 59-day period between February and April of that year, Elite committed a series of harrowing crimes against the very children she was supposed to care for. Out of her 13 young victims, ranging in age from 7 weeks to 5 years old, 4 tragically lost their lives. She used insulin injections or air bubbles, leading to cardiac arrests in her victims. Her horrific acts were driven by Munchausen syndrome by proxy, a disorder where a caregiver fabricates, exaggerates, or induces health problems in those they care for. Elite's heinous crimes came to light in May 1993 when she was convicted on 4 counts of murder, 3 counts of grievous bodily harm, and 6 counts of attempted murder. She was sentenced to 13 concurrent life terms in prison.